Franzoni, Martin, Kuhnau, and Listoshkin. Field rises the hill, and the green flag comes out underneath the Verizon Bridge, and we are underway for Pro Mazda, presented by Cooper Tire.
Essentially 2 cars as one up front, Eric, as Anthony Martin right on the gearbox there of Victor Franzoni. There's the run through one, side by side. Martin on the outside, Franzoni on the inside. Drivers working their way down now to turns number 2 and 3, underway here. Rob Howard alongside Dean Strom bringing you the live play-by-play of our first of 2 races for the Pro Mazda Championship, presented by Cooper Tires. Victor Franzoni coming off 2 big wins, but look at this battle here as they come out of 5. Franzoni will jink a bit to the left. Here comes Martin to the inside up under the hill. Martin to the inside, book it. New leader, Anthony Martin, as he and Franzoni side by side through 7.
Oh, don't say new leader that quick.
Dean, these guys are going at it already. Opening lap, and this has allowed Listoshkin, Kuhnau, and Fisher. Look at him right there. That's the side-by-side Team Pelfrey drivers down into hurry downs, turn number 8. Aggressive opening lap in Pro Mazda, and Anthony Martin has gone to the lead. Franzoni in the Uncos Racing at number 23 slots into the 2nd spot. Uncos Racing, one of those teams that we've seen here for a number of years in both Pro Mazda and Indy Lights, and of course making their debut at the Indianapolis 500 this past May with Spencer Pickett and Sebastian Saavedra. Ricardo Uncos telling our pit reporter Dave First during the IndyCar radio broadcast of our Lights practice session that they really want to go full-time next year. They weren't actually going to run Pro Mazda this year, but Jeff Green, who currently runs in 11th, wanted to go racing, and he wanted to make sure that he had someone with him for setup. He said, I want to have Victor Franzoni. They were able to put the program together. And one of our Pelfrey drivers off coming up the Billy Mitchell Bend. We talk about that transition from right to left to right. We've lost one of them. That driver going to fall all the way back. Bobby Eberle's going to slip by as they drag race up the hill now. So which one? That looks like potentially 81 of Kuhnau. Indeed, Carlos Kuhnau, the Brazilian, has fallen back now into the, I want to say, 11th or 12th position.
And the Pelfrey car is so easy to keep tabs on. That bright yellow, you can't miss them. And they were running 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And we did. As you mentioned, Kuhnau slips back to the 11th spot after going off course there in turn 13.
Was able to get a run back on Eberle as they worked down to turn number 1. Bobby had to check up coming through turn 14 because Kuhnau came across in front of him. Was able to drag race him up the hill and crossed him at the line, but Kuhnau was able to tuck back behind, get in the draft, and then go by turn number 1. So opening lap, here's your top 10. Anthony Martin with the lead in the number 8 for Cape Motorsports. Victor Franzoni in the Uncos Racing 23 in 2nd. The 2 Team Pelfrey cars now run 3rd and 4th, Nikita Listoshkin and TJ Fisher. Stingray Robb in the World Speed Motorsports number 14 now in the 5th spot. It's Chris Wright for JDC Motorsports in 6th. Max Hanratty for Arms Up in 7th. Bob Kaminsky in the number 57 in 8th. Jay Green and Bobby Eberle round out your top 5 now, or rather top 10. Kaminsky, the top national class driver here. Bob Kaminsky, the 57. National class for drivers 20 years of age and older. Again, a big welcome to everyone listening on the Mazda Road to Indy app. We're pleased that you're with us. Again, giving you live coverage of this Mazda Road to Indy. We apologize for those of you listening live on the broadcast to the sound quality. We'll get that updated tomorrow. Just some technical issues here on our end. Anthony Martin, the number 8, trying to hold that lead now. As you know, Franzoni's going to come after him here. Franzoni's got a lot more work to do tomorrow because trouble in qualifying this morning. He waited in pit lane, finally got on track, and then a red flag came out. It was a lengthy red flag, and he wasn't able to get out to turn a lap, so he'll start dead last. But now going to work on Martin, tucks him behind, comes along straightaway. We're going to be side by side into 1. Not quite enough. They'll try to go side by side out of turn number 1, but no, Franzoni tucks back in. Dean Franzoni kind of showing the patience there, the poise, the maturity of being in this program for a couple of years. As is Martin, it's his 3rd year on the road to Indy. He's the champion from USF 2000, but impressive to see that Franzoni not trying to force the issue so early.
And this is a 30-minute race. We are just 5 minutes into it, so obviously 25 more to go. Completed our 2nd lap, so you're exactly right, Rob. Patience, plenty of time to work around that leader. He's got a fast car.
Yeah, and they both do. You know, Martin and Franzoni both have quick cars. There's no sense if there's ability for them to pull away at all from Leskoshin, that's what they need to do. But the battling they have done has allowed Nikita Leskoshin to close right back in. And in fact, TJ Fisher not that far back either, as the top 3 drivers now separated by a second. Look at that. Maybe 2 car lengths between 1st, 2nd, and 3rd as Nikita Leskoshin showing his best effort of his 3-year Mazda Road to Indy career.
And Rob, he just turned the fastest lap that last time by at a 2:10.3.
Nice.
So your 3rd place runner that last time by, fastest car on course.
We saw Nikita come in a couple of years ago into the USF 2000 program out of Formula 1600 with Team Pelfrey, and he just got quicker and quicker. He ran again last year in USF 2000, his debut here this year in Pro Mazda. And this Team Pelfrey crew has been strong. TJ's got a couple of podium finishes, as does Carlos Cunha. This would be the first one for Nikita Leskoshin. Let's see if he can continue rolling with it here now. And again, watching these front-running drivers, the quartet with a big lead now over Stingray Robb. You'll see Stingray in the back coming through turn number 14 as the leaders. The front-running quartet comes out of 14. There's Stingray. And there is Chris Wright rolling out there. Franzoni just reset fast lap of the race, and I believe actually made the move for the lead indeed.
He did. He did. Coming out of Canada corner, turn 12, and he got around Martin. A power move. Set him up on the outside. Going into Canada corner and got around him in 13th. So Franzoni is your new race leader.
We talked about the patience. We talked about waiting for the opportunity. And of course that came, at least in Victor's mind, over in Canada corner. He's been able to go by. When you make the move like that and able to pinch a driver off and slow that lap, that's what's going to give you the better run. So he had a half a second at the line. Now, the storyline remains. Is he going to be able to pull away now? Does he have a car to stretch away here? We're 7.5 minutes in, still 22.5 minutes to go. Long way still. And in fact, Leskoshin starting to put the pressure on Martin. Again, Nikita Leskoshin in the 80 starting to put pressure here on Anthony Martin in the number 8. Big gap back, of course, to Stingray Robb, Max Hanratty, and Chris Wright. It's actually Hanratty, the number 6, who's gone into the 6th position.
Absolutely, and the leaders are going to head towards the carousel. And if you're looking at a big screen, Rob, I love this shot. It really gives you a perspective of the downhill going through the carousel and heading towards the kink in the back half of the course.
Kink, such an iconic corner in North American motorsports. I think everybody who's ever driven here, whether you drove here in a racing cart or a Formula V or a sports car or a Trans Am, it's all about how fast can you go through the kink.
You have to talk yourself up. You have to talk yourself up into it, don't you?
You do. I know personally in a Formula V, so nothing very quick, but in a Formula V with our little narrow tires, I had to bring the left foot over to put it on top of the right foot to stop myself from lifting. Because then you'll hear that in the guys from Dead Acquisition. No, I'm flat through the kink. And no, they look at the data trace on the throttle and no, you lift to about 90%. And the guy just can't believe it because it's tough. It's such a daunting corner. It doesn't feel like there's any runoff, and there really isn't that much at all. But once you do it, it feels so good, and you just keep doing it, and it's fast. So these young drivers just, of course, exploring the limits of the racetrack and what their cars are able to do. Don't get a lot of time to be here. A number of guys did come to test, but a lot of guys have not yet been here. It's the first time. Franzoni now 2.3 seconds out, and this could be a little precursor of what we might see tomorrow. Again, he'll start 15th, I believe, on the grid tomorrow. You got to think he's thinking top 6, top 7 at the end of the opening lap tomorrow to try to get himself forward.
Yeah, that's going to be worth the price of admission right there. Of course, tomorrow, race number 2 here for the Pro Mazda. As you said, he'll start well back in the field, and it's going to be fun to watch him charge up to the front.
Nikita Leskoshin in that bright yellow Team Pelfrey entry, the number 80 driver out of Russia. lives now here in the United States, and putting a good run here to try to close up on Martin. Last time by, both turning 209.6s. Nikita, had a chance to talk to him during the Indy Lights radio broadcast, and he was one of 3 drivers who were part of the Racing for Kids program here this past week. Went to the Sheboygan County Boys and Girls Club of America and got a chance to sit down with a bunch of kids and talk racing. And the interesting thing was kind of the cross-section of the drivers they brought to that program. They brought Isla Agren, who's Norwegian. They brought Nikita, who's Russian. They brought Nico Jumin, who's French. So they talked a lot about racing, but they also asked the drivers to all talk in their own language as well. So we had a little bit of Swedish, we had a little bit of French, we had a little bit of Russian, and Nikita said it was a lot of fun to get a chance to meet these young kids at the Boys and Girls Club of America.
And one of the questions that the kids had for him is, so when did you lose your accent?
He actually has lost his accent a little bit, which is Nico Jumin has not. Nico still he still has that French accent. Isla's not too bad. She doesn't. It's not too Norwegian for Isla, but yeah, I don't know. I guess I still think that Nikita has a little bit of Russian accent, but not much at all. That's funny. Great what young kids will pick up, that's for sure.
Under 20 minutes to go now, as we are.
Big battle right now. Boycel clears traffic and gets
third between Martin and Listoshkin.
Yeah, look at lap times. Remember we
wanted Jerry Baker. Well, Mansel's found some running room all by his lonesome. Now we're watching Eddie Cheever. Man,
now, so Listoshkin, we'll see if he's able to close back up. Interesting, 3 different teams in the top 3 as well. Franzoni running for Uncos Racing, Martin for Cape Motorsports, and Nikita Listoshkin in the number 80 for Team Pelfrey. Also interesting that all 3 of those drivers worked their way through USF 2000 as well.
Excellent example of what can be done with the ladder system, the Mazda Road to Indy. We just had the USF 2000 race earlier.
Lead changes, racing all the way through the field. We saw some of the best racing for 10th, 11th, and 12th in the last 3 or 4 laps.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
It was fun to watch, and that was the prevailing thought through the paddock as well. People I talked to were just straight up saying, man, that was a great race, and we hope to see more of it again. We're going to watch these guys battle it again tomorrow afternoon, so they'll have a qualifying session in the morning and a race in the afternoon, and should be great for these USF 2000 drivers. Franzoni now 3.4 seconds out front. It was actually more of a challenge than I thought it was going to be, but Anthony Martin was very strong out of the box. Your reigning USF 2000 champion, of course, driving with support from Mazda and the scholarship program that he won last year. He's already been a victor this year as well. And Anthony Martin, he and Victor Franzoni definitely in the battle for this championship. And of course, in the end, the scholarship, the champion, the prize they get to be able to go run in the Indy Lights Series. So you just look at the drivers who have worked their way from Pro Mazda in recent years to work their way into that Indy Lights Series. And man, Ed Jones, Spencer Piggott, Santi Urrutia, some really high quality drivers, 2 of which we've seen already make it to the Verizon IndyCar Series. And you get guys like Sage Karam and Zach Veach, who went through the entire program as well, race winners on every level of the Mazda Road to Indy, and now looking to solidify themselves in the Verizon IndyCar program. And of course, with potentially some new teams coming in, there's a possibility that some of these drivers may get a shot at one of these open seats.
And this is a showcase weekend for these young drivers.
Most
Not
definitely.
only are they on a world-class road course in front of a great full house, a lot of fans, but they are in front of the owners of the Verizon IndyCar, the Indy Lights, right on down the line. Everybody's on the same card this weekend.
That's one of the great things about being part of this Mazda Road to Indy. You know, we don't run of course, the Indy 500 weekend. Only the Freedom 100 and Indy Lights drivers run there. But for a majority of the events we go to, these drivers, of course, are with IndyCar. In fact, all the events this year where we are with IndyCar, we're at different amounts, not all 3 every once in a while. We're going to go to Iowa, and it'll be just Indy Lights and the USF 2000 drivers. But when we go to Mid-Ohio, it's the full brace, the full lineup. Same with the streets of Toronto, and we look forward to wrapping up the season at Watkins Glen International on Labor Day weekend. We'll find out who our champions will be. We'll do a fantastic awards dinner to crown those champions on the Monday evening, and we'll see which drivers will represent Mazda and Anderson Promotions and Cooper Tires in the following season with that championship colors, those soul red Mazda colors. So Franzoni up front, Martin second. Listoshkin now runs third as we are at the halfway point. Stingray Robb has moved to fourth as he's been able to get by TJ Fisher. Looking at lap times, something happened there potentially for Fisher. Look at that one lap at 2:17. We didn't see it on screen, but TJ Fisher had some kind of an issue about 10 seconds, 8-10 seconds off the pace that last lap. So you got to figure he either dropped the wheel, must have went off course somewhere. This has allowed Stingray Robb to jump up into the fourth position. Fisher not far behind him. As TJ Fisher just about a half second back as they came across the line. 1.4 back then to Hanratty.
And Rob, Carlos Cunha has not been able to recover from that off-track excursion he had early in the race, coming out of 13.
I did see him make a run through the pit lane as well. That's why he's so far back, I think, right now. He came through pit lane and they had the cowl. I might have lost the front cowl off it or something. So Cunha still trying to push lap time. Still turning pretty good lap times if you look at 2:09.8. Won't be long for him to potentially catch up here to Finelli, Zavelson, but I think he may end up being a lap back at this point. We'll see as they come back around. Maybe still in the lead lap, just that far back. But Cunha just doing what he can to see if he can't maybe get back into the 11th position. Carlos had some rough luck as well in St. Petersburg. Would have had a podium in the opening weekend, but had some engine issues there while running third. There's your first and second place driver. No, that's second and third, rather. Pardon me. That's Martin in the 8 and Listoshkin in the 80. Navigating the way through the downhill off-camber carousel. A lot of campers to the inside of that part of the racetrack. Great place to watch the race. Nice and close to the kart track as well if you want to go crank some laps out. I know that people get motivated, they get inspired by what they see on track here. Excellent way if you want to get off the couch or get out of the lawn chair, get into the kart racing events here and go lap, do some circuits around the track. Great racetrack here. We've had some major events. People don't realize that I want to say one of the first major karting events that Graham Rahal ever won was a Stars of Karting event here at Road America on that kart track back there by the Hurry Downs. A big win.
It's a great place to go settle some grudges.
Yeah,
maybe a wager or two.
You can throw down some money. Exactly. Well, unofficially, of course, right? Unofficially. Yeah, I think it's a great way. You think you're better than these guys on track, get out there and show us what you got. Karting, of course, just an amazing way to go racing as well. It is the purest form of motorsports, and in talking to Dan Weldon, like I did so many times, when he would come out and race with us a lot at the Superkarts USA Super Nationals events, and he would always say it's the purest form of motorsports. And I think that fans who maybe want a little more, maybe they want to get off the couch and try it, it's a great idea. Look up karting online. I have a website myself that you can learn a lot on. It's called ekartingnews.com. Just a great way to go racing and get behind the wheel yourself. It's affordable, it's fun, absolutely thrilling. Anywhere from a 4-cycle kart that you can pick up for $3,000 all the way up to a $15,000 125cc shifter that'll do 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds and 100 miles an hour. 11 and a half minutes remaining here in the Pro Mazda Championship presented by Cooper Tires. We talk about karting. That is where so many of these young drivers have come from. Pretty easy to look at the pedigree of the drivers in the USF 2000 program and realize that they were top national level karters. Of course, we saw today a great run by David Malukas, young driver out of Chicago, only a couple of years on from karting. Ran in the major events in Europe, and in fact, the team they've put together, the BN Racing team, is filled with karting engineers and karting mechanics who have kind of come with David to put that program together. So interesting to see them keep the unit together, the drivers they've worked with over the past couple of years.
And Rob, with karting, things have evolved so much over the years, and today these youngsters can get started so young and get on track and get that seat time and experience. It really bodes well and helps them along their career.
You can start as young as 5 years old, 5-6 years old in the kid kart ranks, and of course then you move into what's called the micro and then mini categories up into junior. And being able to start early is amazing. I think one of the key things nowadays is the level of data acquisition that we actually have in the program these days. It allows these young drivers to become very adept at being able to give feedback, not just the feedback, the seat of the pants feedback, which is so important. It's pushing, it's loose. I'm loose exit off, whatever it may be, but they're able to sit down and go over the data that they've been doing since they were 10, 11 years old. So when they sit down with their engineer, they get an opportunity to go over it. Franzoni still leading by 7.5 seconds. Martin second, Listoshkin now third. Stingray Rob still in fourth. Max Hanratty in fifth as Fisher's dropped down the order. Again, Fisher at 2:28 last time by. There's got to be some kind of an issue here for TJ Fisher as he has fallen back into the 10th position. So Fisher tumbling through the field. That has allowed Listoshkin alone in third. Stingray Rob goes to fourth in the 14. Hanratty in fifth. Good run here for Jeff Green now into the sixth spot. Kaminsky runs seventh. Bobby Eberle eighth. Chris Wright ninth, and Fisher, as we said, now in the 10th spot. So Franzoni 7.5 seconds up, and this is a big one here for Victor Franzoni. He had a major weekend at the IndyCar Grand Prix, the road course weekend in Indianapolis in mid-May. I think we got a yellow flag being shown, Dean, down in the Kettle Bottoms. Potentially Chris Wright. They're waving it coming into Canada corner, which would think that when we flip over to the next camera here that we're potentially going to see a driver at the beach there. Nobody there, but yellow flag was flying over there at this point, unless he's back around the corner, guys. Dean, able to see anything? No, nothing here from our spotters at this point, guys. But we said yellow flag being thrown in the Kettle Bottoms, held yellow in the Kettle Bottoms, and waved in Canada corner. Chris Wright, however, falling to the tail of the field in the number 12. So indeed, now it looks like Wright may have came back across. Looking at timing and scoring, we're trying to decipher what we get for the information we have in the booth. He did complete lap number 9, so potentially an off, and then back on track and continuing on. But tough one for Wright as he falls to the very tail of the field. Carlos Cunha will benefit. He now goes into the 11th spot. He's currently 17 seconds behind Zavelson and about 4 seconds quicker, 5 seconds quicker. And we still have 8 minutes to go, so probably 4 laps.
It's an 8.5 second lead for Franzoni in the number 23 machine. Martin trying to track him down, but Franzoni has led it from about the second or third lap patiently, right at about the 5-minute mark. Patiently worked his way around Martin, and since then has separated himself about a second a lap.
Here's Chris Wright coming there in that white and blue machine. That's the JDC Motorsports colors, and the car looked like it was a little sketchy as he came through the hurry down section of the racetrack. Franzoni able to follow him through here, so Franzoni now down into the kink, and he'll come through rolling. Big lead, as Dean said, 8.5 seconds for Victor Franzoni, the Brazilian. Anthony Martin trying to remain close here in this championship chase because, again, these drivers looking forward to their next events. It's a 6-point lead coming in. Franzoni over Martin. He got the bonus point for this race, but Martin already got the bonus point for qualifying for race 2. So both drivers have a qualifying bonus point, which kind of negate each other. TJ Fisher was third. He's fallen to 13th. Carlos Cunha in fourth in points. He's now 11th. Listoshkin was fifth. He's going to take a big jump. He may move actually into the 4th spot. Listoshkin may move to P4 here. Just about 6 minutes remaining here at Pro Mazda. Second run to the Mazda Road to Indy. The champion here. You'll see him in the Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires in 2018. Again, the final time that this particular Pro Formula Mazda car will see action here at Road America as part of the Pro Mazda Championship. A brand new Tatis-built PM18 will debut at St. Petersburg. He said it'll be his first official race. We'll see that new car at the Chris Griffith test at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in November, or October rather.
Franzoni cruises. That last time by was a 209.1 and 210.1 for Martin in second spot. But Rob, down in 11th, we talked about Carlos Cunha. He went off course in turn 13. You mentioned he had a trip down pit lane. He's going 209.6, so he is, even though he's well back in the field, currently shown in the 11th position, second fastest car on course.
Yeah, look, he's 6 seconds faster than Zavelson and back by only 12. So 2 laps later, and Kuna's going to be up into 10th. That'll be important if he's going to try to close up here in the points. Because I said you never know what's going to happen. It's looking right now like Franzoni, Martin, and Fisher were going to be your primary title contenders. Listoshkin trying to get himself back in the hunt here now with a good third place finish. But they're going to need something to happen to Franzoni and Martin for them to get a shot in here, because after this event, 4 more races to go, or 3 more races to go rather. They'll run the Mid-Ohio event on July 28, 29, 30. They'll run at Gateway Motorsports Park, that 1.2 mile oval in Gateway in St. Louis. And then of course we head to Watkins Glen, New York for the finale. 3 more races still to go, 5 races, actually 6 races in total. Pro Mazda will do a triple header at Mid-Ohio, so you better be good there. And Martin's going to have a good opportunity there because Cape Motorsports won last year there with Nico Jamin. He was able to do the double in the Cape Motorsports car. Of course, it's exactly the same car that Anthony's in this time. And he'll get a chance to jump in that car and have a pretty good setup when they head to Mid-Ohio at the end of July.
This is the first race of a doubleheader weekend here at America's National Park of Speed. Pro Mazda race number 2 comes your way at 2:05 tomorrow afternoon, as we have about 3.5 minutes remaining here in this one.
You know, Dean, after having just an absolute stellar battle in USF 2000, Victor Franzoni's turned this one into a stinker a little bit as he's working himself away.
He is making it look easy.
And he is rolling. 10.1 seconds the lead for Franzoni, trying to stretch away in the championship. So Franzoni comfortably down to turn number 8. Just hitting the marks. Franzoni, Martin, Listoshkin, Robb, and Hanratty, your top 5. Kuna closing up 6 more seconds on Zavelson. That's going to be a pass here this next time by. 3 minutes to go, though we may get 2 more laps in. We'll look to see. No, we may get the white flag this time by from Tom Hansing. Indeed. White flag getting set to fly here. One of our guests here as well from Allied Building Products, Kevin Christensen, is going to throw the checkered flag for us. Great place to be to throw that flag out, right out over top of the racetrack when we see Franzoni coming up here. But white flag we expect will fly next time by. Tom has not, I don't think, pulled it out for any of the drivers yet, waiting for Franzoni to come back around. Clock starting to tick, about 2 minutes remaining here, 2:12.
Average speed so far today has been just about 112 miles per hour. We talk about the time. 2 minutes, 9.6 seconds is the best time, but average speed just shy of 112 as the white flag does fly at the start-finish line.
There it is, 1 more to go. Final lap for Victor Franzoni to see if he can't win once again. As I said, coming off a solid weekend at the Indianapolis Grand Prix weekend, the road course event. Franzoni came in there knowing that he needed to step things up, and he was able to get the job done. Couple of race wins. Anthony Martin 4th in the opening, or 4th in the second race, 2nd in the opener to limit the damage. But again, a 6-point lead coming into Road America here for Franzoni, and he is now looking to try to get himself a 3rd straight victory. Anthony Martin swept the opening weekend at St. Petersburg. Victor coming right back at it, so Victor trying to go 3 for 3. Here comes the driver into pit lane as well. That's the number 82, that's Fisher. His bad day goes worse as he's now into pit lane here to get the white flag. Kuna trying to find a way by Zavelson. That's going to happen for sure. He may be even able to get Puderback as well. So Kuna may be able to find his way into 9th. There's Brendan Puderback and Zavelson in the middle of a good battle here. Dave Zavelson making his debut in the program here this weekend. White flag flying. Kuna gets by both of them indeed. So into 9th spot for Carlos Kuna. Bobby Everly still trying to chase down Bob Kaminsky. Kaminsky P7, your top national class driver. So final lap for Victor Franzoni, the Brazilian driver who won last year in the USF 2000 program with Arms Up Motorsports, was able to score a victory at the Streets of Toronto event. Checkered flag being thrown. Kevin Christensen will throw that checkered flag, and Franzoni drives her down to the wall. His team right there, give him the thumbs up. A well-deserved triumph, and he will have to do it again tomorrow, but starting from dead last. So Martin comes across the line in second. There's Listoshkin, his first Pro Mazda podium, in third. A stellar drive here with the number 14 of Stingray Robb, as he's going to bring it into fourth position, his best career result. Rather tying his best career result, pardon me. Stingray was fourth in the second race as well at St. Petersburg. Stingray rolling up here. I believe he and Hanratty trying to get the final positions here in the top 5. There's Stingray across the line. Not too far back, as we said, was Max Hanratty in the 5th position. All in all, great race. Victor Franzoni with the win. He will extend his point lead, almost 12 seconds the advantage, the margin of victory over Anthony Martin in the number 8. And Nikita Listoshkin on the podium for the first time here in Pro Mazda. Stingray Robb and Max Hanratty will round out the top 5.